It'll certainly have an impact on the drug supply in Newcastle, at least on the short term, and it's quite a significant arrest.
According to the latest crime figures, over the past 5 years there has been a 4.4% fall in alcohol-related violence at pubs and clubs throughout Newcastle. Between October 2005 and September 2006, 309 assaults were recorded in licensed venues. In the 12 months to September this year, that figure fell to 258. Police aren't surprised by the decline, crediting a high police presence and the 2008 introduction of a 1:30 a.m. lockout.
The restrictions in the Newcastle area are significant and they do work.
The statistics also show the level of violence in pubs across Cessnock, Lake Macquarie and Port Stephens has remained stable, while there were too few instances in Gloucester, Dungog, Muswellbrook, Singleton and the Upper Hunter to establish any crime trends. However, the figures have revealed a 14.2% increase in assaults in Maitland. Newcastle community campaigner Tony Brown believes that's because licensed venues in Maitland only have a voluntary lockout.
What these statistics clearly show is the failed industry self-regulation that doesn't work.
Madeline McKell, NBN News.
This map represents $1 billion of investment, but because of these, it's taken 6 years to edge the plans closer to reality.
This development has been an absolute no-brainer. It's been part of the Hunter Regional Strategy. The Minister needed to have approved this long ago. I'm glad in the dying days of the Keneally government it's finally been approved.
Yes, a long time, but the research I think has been well worth it, and we now have a very exciting project in front of us.
That project is at Kings Hill, north of Raymond Terrace. Now the area has finally been rezoned. It paves the way for the construction of 4,500 homes, as well as schools and shops. Aircraft noise will still be an issue, but it's estimated only about 10% of the area will be affected.
Now Council and the Minister is satisfied that the aircraft noise effects on Kings Hill can be managed. There'll be some noise reduction needed in the design and the construction of the homes, and they'll all be advised in some detail to potential purchasers of the land and those people who are looking to build houses and other developments in the area.
The next step is detailed infrastructure and road planning.
We should see development actually happening there in 18 months, 2 years' time.
Kate Mitchell, NBN News.
It shouldn't be a case of government interfering in negotiations at this level. It's just too crucial for Hydro and its 700 employees to have some certainty around a future power price.
We believe that if there are privatisation proposals around, that should be done by way of an Act of Parliament, which makes sure the process is open and transparent.
It's what many residents in the Upper Hunter have been calling for years. Air quality monitoring stations like this one at Singleton will measure the level of dust particles, enabling authorities to compare it to national standards.
They'll also be looking at small particle sizes. We'll be ultimately able to look at the sources of emissions and see whether or not there is in fact a problem, because clearly the community is very concerned.
The data will be uploaded to the Department of Environment, Climate Change and Water's website and can be accessed 24 hours a day. But some community members want even stricter measures put in place.
These machines are not compliance machines. These machines are measuring cumulative impact.
Others remain confident the stations will make a difference.
You have to determine whether there really is a problem, and if there is a problem, what's the magnitude of that problem, and when you know that, then you know what you need to do to fix it.
Altogether, 14 air quality monitoring sites will be established across the Upper Hunter. 4 will soon be built at Maison Dew, Singleton North, Camberwell and Bulga. The other 8 will be decided next year.
The experts have decided where those stations need to be so that we can actually get real-time, credible, reliable information.
Tyson Cottrell, NBN News.
28-year-old Martina Klein has permanent facial scarring after being hit with a schooner glass. The mother of 4 says the trauma of the incident has taken a heavy physical and emotional toll.
I'm still feeling like really sick from the incident. Still getting a lot of head spins and nausea, and you can't sleep at night.
She's now so conscious about her appearance, just going outside has become an ordeal.
I have trouble walking up the street because people look at me and they do the double check, and I just get a bit paranoid, I think, and think, what do people think of me? I'm not a violent person. I was never in a fight. It just happened to me, and I work in the public eye, and that's the worst thing about it all, is that I have to face the public every day with scars on my face now. And
John Hunter Hospital trauma surgeon Chino Bendinelli deals with glassing patients all too often.
Weekends are very much the peak hours for glassing injuries in the night. Maybe 1, 2, 3 a week.
He says such attacks regularly result in the victim being disfigured and can even be deadly.
I've seen a lot of bad ones. I saw eyes lost. I saw eyelid disrupted in a way that even if you put them together, your eyelid is never going to cover your eyes properly.
Ms. Klein hopes her experience will make people think twice.
please don't ever glass someone. It's so horrific to the person, the family. Everyone gets upset. There's permanent scars.
Madeline McKell, NBN News.
Tali Eastham is one organised young woman. She has to be. She has type 1 diabetes, and this diary is her life.
And you've been doing all this hard work. You've done at least 4 to 6 blood sugars a day.
To help manage her disease, the 14-year-old keeps an exhaustive account of her days.
A lot of work. It's get up in the morning, test my levels, write them down, do the injection, and it goes more than 4 times a day most of the time. It's a lot of work to get it all down, but I think if I wouldn't do it, it's only going to negatively affect me.
In type 1 diabetes, the pancreas stops making insulin, and to stay alive, patients like Tali must inject the hormone and regularly test their blood glucose levels.
We ask a lot of the kids, and I just have enormous respect for what they do and what a difficult disease they have to manage.
It's made even more difficult by misunderstanding about the disease. As distinct to type 2 diabetes, type 1 is not related to lifestyle. Its cause isn't known, and there's no cure.
It's really hard, and there's negatives out there, and people just need to realise that they go through enough.
And if someone thinks that, it's their fault because they eat poorly, then that's devastating for the children because it's not their fault.
However, a healthy lifestyle is important in managing the condition. Type 1 diabetes currently affects 25 to 30 people out of 100,000 in Australia, and alarmingly, its incidence is rising by 3% annually.
There are things on the horizon, and we're hoping that, for the families, that there will be a breakthrough in the next few years.
A cure? That would be good.
I don't know. I think if they did find a cure for it, I don't think I'd have it.
Change your lifestyle. I think it's made our lifestyle a lot better.
Mature beyond her years, Tali has embraced the positives while dealing with the negatives.
I think this has kind of made me who I am in a way. It's kind of pushed me forward and helped me find myself in a strange way.
He may have left his reindeer at the North Pole, but Santa didn't come to Cameron Park Special School empty-handed. Students couldn't wipe the smiles off their faces, and given there were presents involved, well, who could blame them? But there are 2 extra special gifts the school's hoping for this Christmas.
This year's been one of growth. We've expanded again, and lots of fundraising towards a new bus and a new Liberty Swing.
That would cost around $9,000 and go here. And a new bus is worth around $45,000. Fortunately, Santa's getting some help when it comes to fulfilling the school's wishes.
Is that the big Christmas present that the school wants? It certainly is. It'd be lovely if Santa could give us a new bus. Santa, tell me, have these boys and girls been good or bad?
They've been wonderful, these children.
So good, they deserve an extra special Christmas.
Tell me what the bus can do for the school. The opportunity to get our students out into the community, to access things that ordinarily they wouldn't be able to develop skills of independence.
If you'd also like to help Santa out, you can contact his helpers at the Cameron Park School. Tyson Cottrell, NBN News.
A tired but satisfied Jets side touched down in Newcastle this afternoon following a second solid away win. Last night, though, they did it the hard way. The Jets players and coach couldn't hide their frustration at what they saw as a soft foul. This afternoon, Wheelhouse decided not to weigh into the controversy, but it's clear he has plenty of support.
A little bit of simulation on the other players' part, and I think JB Wheelhouse has got the rough end of the stick. Again, the referees have made something out of nothing and almost spoiled the game, but fortunately for us, we're clearly the better side, and it's ironic that they're called Melbourne Heart.
The red card only ignited the Jets and they responded immediately. Francis Jeffers grabbing his first goal in Newcastle colours. Before the dust could settle, Jeffers became the provider, setting up Marko Jesic. From that point, the best defence in the league took over. Time after time, the Heart poured men forward, only to be denied by keeper Matthew Nash. Currently on an injury replacement contract, Nash has done his chances of staying no harm.
Mate, I'd be happy to stay at the club, to be honest. I'm just happy to play somewhere, mate.
Mitchell Hughes, NBN News.
Why not now look towards a Women's World Cup? I think it would still have a magical effect on this nation if people are willing to look at the game and appreciate it for what it is.
Jesse Adam is your classic carefree surfer, but after breaking his wrist, the 21-year-old has endured the toughest year of his life.
I was out of the water for much longer than I expected. A wrist usually is 6 weeks or so, but I ended up being out of the water for over 6 months.
A trip to Brazil to visit his brother provided the perfect tonic.
It was good just to get away and just clear my head and surf a lot, and it's good. I'm back now. I feel like I'm back at peak fitness and peak surfing ability, so I'm ready to get back into competition.
His ultimate goal of qualifying for surfing's Dream Tour will begin in January when the World Qualifying Series resumes on the Gold Coast. Before then, he'll represent Merewether in this weekend's opening round of the National Surf Tag Series. The defending regional champions will be missing big names Luke Egan and Matt Hoy, but with Jesse, Paul Parks and Reece Smith in the mix, they'll still be hard to beat. Mitchell Hughes, NBN News.
Police scoured several homes across the Hunter, uncovering $550,000 worth of drugs and more than $100,000 in cash.
As of yesterday, we've now arrested 23 people for a variety of drug offences, mainly relating to supplying drugs in the area. 4 of those persons have been charged with commercial quantities of supply.
Police say the accused formed 2 separate drug rings and had connections to traffickers in Sydney. They're alleged to have brought heroin, amphetamine and cannabis into the Hunter. Officers expect the operation to have a significant impact on drug supply from Port Stephens to Singleton.
We believe that we've broken right up the syndicates operating in this area. No doubt there'll be other people come into the area, but we'll be focusing on them as well.
More than $400,000 worth of assets allegedly bought with drug money were also confiscated, including quad and mini bikes. This high-powered modified Tirana, along with a 7-metre-long ski boat, caravan and these 3 sports cars are just some of the luxurious items police seized during a raid on a Port Stephens home yesterday. Operation Sea Mist continues and more arrests are expected. Madeline McKell, NBN News. It's Newcastle's oldest standing pub, but for far too long the derelict Empire Hotel has been a blight on Hunter Street. Now the state government's planned demolition has been brought to a halt by a lone objector. Keith, what part of this is worth saving?
Well, it's only a small section of the entire site, but we want to see the 2 shopfront facades that flank the original pub, kept, and as well as this front section of the pub, which dates back to the 1850s.
Since the hotel's closure in 2003, it's been a squat and repeatedly set on fire. But Mr Parsons believes the facade's not beyond help and wants it incorporated into any redevelopment.
It's about aesthetic significance, which can be reinstated. It's about historic significance and social significance.
But Jodie McKay says the Empire is structurally unsound and dangerous.
It is an eyesore. It has been an enduring eyesore of this city, and I'm completely baffled why one objector has hijacked a process which is about urban renewal.
The state MP says the objection has set back demolition to next year and could cost taxpayers around $100,000 to investigate.
It is quite obvious that there is nothing in this building that is of heritage value. There is no heritage listing on this site.
Madeline McKell, NBN News.
It's one of the best views in the Hunter, but for now it should only be enjoyed from the water's edge. This morning, Port Stephens Council workers put signs in place at Wanda and Bagnall's beaches, urging swimmers to head elsewhere for a dip. Council's Natural Resources Coordinator says it's not uncommon for rain to decrease water quality, but not by this much. Unfortunately, it's not clear exactly what is causing the problem.
We've done some previous testing a couple of years ago when Bagnall's Beach showed some poor water quality results, and it was very difficult to find out why. It actually mightn't be anything, it actually might be a natural event, could just be lots of pelicans, or we just don't know.
A few locals chose to ignore the warning signs, dropping by for a stroll or a quick dip, but Council says the warning shouldn't be taken lightly. And no matter what's causing the problem, there are ways residents can ensure it's less likely to happen again.
Especially over-fertilising their garden, especially before rain, and it's a waste of money too. If they put all this fertiliser on their garden and then it'll just wash off down the stormwater drains, and picking up after their dog, watching their car on the lawn, all those simple things you always hear about.
Council will conduct its regular weekly test on Monday and is confident the water quality will improve in time for the Christmas holiday rush. Mitchell Hughes, NBN News.
On both sides of the highway 60k zone, speed camera in the lights here and even some warning signs. I know that that's what my daughter Carla would want me to do to prevent for the next person.
The Lights Spectacular at Hunter Valley Gardens is a massive operation. A team of 15 started planning this year's event before the 2009 one was even over.
Our installation's taken somewhere between 2,000 and 3,000 man hours, and that was just installing. And then previously to that, we started testing and tagging all of the lights back in July.
And all that hard work is hard to miss once the sun goes down. Crowds are being treated to a magical light show, billed as the biggest in Australia.
We have over 1 million lights in the display, and so that goes from everything from down to little strings to big scenes.
I've never seen anything like this before in my life. It's absolutely beautiful.
It's beautiful and the kids love it. We love it.
Along the 3-kilometre path, there's the traditional.
We saw a fairy.
The patriotic.
The Sydney Harbour Bridge with the kangaroos underneath.
And even prehistoric scenes.
They've done a great job. I don't know who done it, but congratulations to them, I reckon. It's excellent.
There are thousands of scenes here, but the crowd favourite seems to be the latest addition to the Lights Spectacular, the waterfall. Gracelands lives on through the Lights Spectacular with hundreds of pieces coming from the North Belmont home. And believe it or not, there are plans to keep expanding the display. Lauren Bladwell, NBN News.
To watch an energetic Alec Griffiths at play, it's hard to imagine how he's suffered with asthma. The 4-year-old was diagnosed just after his first birthday, and for his family, it was a baptism of fire with a spate of terrifying trips to hospital.
Our first trip in, we ended up on the resuscitation table, so it was quite a full-on experience.
Somewhere between 12 and 14 trips within a 6-week sort of interval. And a couple of times in intensive care. Yeah, it shook us up.
18 months on, thankfully, it's a very different story. Alec is still visiting the John Hunter Children's Hospital, but for the management of his asthma rather than critical care.
Take a big breath for me. That's a beautiful breath. Good.
Alec has an asthma action plan which includes taking a preventer every day, and he understands exactly what it does.
Goes into there.
And does it make you better?
Yeah.
In asthmatics, the airways are very sensitive.
So if they get exposed to a trigger, for example, they get a cold or they're around people who smoke or changing weather, because we often have fickle weather, that will set, their airways will get twitchy and sensitive and they'll tighten.
That can cause wheezing, chest tightness, shortness of breath and coughing. Alec's case was so severe, his parents had to stop going to playgroup and other social outings. Now, with strict adherence to the asthma plan, he's at preschool.
We're happy now that we've, through the good management of the condition, that we're hopefully a bit more confident that we're on top of it.
It's evidence that while it can't be cured, asthma can be controlled in most people.
They should be going to see their GP regularly to monitor their symptoms, to review their medications, but also to make sure their plan is up to date, because it's the plan that tells them what to do and protects the child.
He's back to leading a normal life, doing all the things that he should be doing.
Joe Wheelhouse got back to work today as his club began the fight to clear his name after that send-off on Wednesday night, which the FFA reckons is worth a 2-week suspension.
We believe we've got a pretty good case, and if you look at the images, maybe it was a bit harsh.
Hoping to have it overturned, at worst, the Jets want the punishment reduced, with the appeal likely to be heard early next week.
You hope that over the whole season it evens itself out, so we're due for a lot of good luck in the second part of the year.
If Francis Jeffers can stay that long remains to be seen. The Englishman has been a revelation since arriving on a guest stint, and with only 4 games remaining, the Jets want to see if that deal can be extended.
That's the kind of players you want. Can we fit him? That's another question, and but we will explore that.
Kalina will definitely have another strike weapon come January in the form of Ryan Griffiths. Having rejected a $1 million contract to remain in China, he's arrived with one thing in mind: to emulate brothers Joel and Adam and win an A-League title.
Winning championships is the best thing, and that's what you play for, and that's all I want to do.
Jim Callanan, NBN News. Whether he's at work or at play, Sam Masters can always be found around bikes. The young Speedway star has already enjoyed a big year, which saw him named a fan favourite in England. But it's supporters back home he wants to salute at the state titles at Curry tomorrow.
There's a lot of hard riders in it with the World Under-21 champion and the British GP winner, so if I can just mix it with him and that, I'll be stoked.
There's little doubt national champion Chris Holder will be his biggest threat, and he's still smarting about losing to Masters in the same race last year. It's all natural horsepower at Newcastle Harness Racing tomorrow night, with the time-honoured Newcastle Cup, considered the longest running in the state. Of the 4 locals lining up, Armageddon Flame is considered a good chance, despite a steep rise in class.
They might underrate him, but he'll be in there with them. If he happens to get to the lead, which big chance he could, well, yeah, I don't think anything's going to worry him.
And Nelson Bay's Terry Antrim has been named the Newcastle District Lawn Bowler of the Year overnight. It was a political meet and greet Christmas shoppers just couldn't avoid. Barry O'Farrell, flanked by the Liberal candidates for Charlestown and Maitland, targeted the region's biggest centres at their busiest time of year, sharing a handshake, a laugh and of course election flyers with hundreds of Hunter voters.
I reckon it's great. About time Newcastle had a change.
So this will help decide your vote?
Yes.
And I'm very impressed actually. It's good to see him here today, and it's been really busy, so it's good to have him around.
While support for the Labor Party is crumbling across the state, it still has a strong hold on the Hunter Valley. Barry O'Farrell is counting on this visit to help change the tide. And it was strategically timed.
This 100-day mark is a demonstration that we're committed to the Hunter.
For the first time, the opposition leader revealed his thoughts on cutting the rail line into Newcastle.
Personally, I favour light rail network that stretches from Lake Macquarie to Port Stephens, from Maitland into Newcastle.
But he'll need to do more than this to boost his profile if locals are to change their voting habits.
Didn't even know he was in town, to be honest.
No idea. Do you know who that is?
Nope, no idea.
Do you know who that is? No, I have no idea.
Madeline McKell, NBN News.
Merewether didn't boast the same star-studded lineup which won the Northern Region title last year, but it still had a side capable of winning. They did just that in their opening heat, but it all ended in the semis. In fickle conditions, the final was open to anyone. Yamina looked every chance with Drew Courtney and defending Surfest champion Glenn Hall in fine form for them. But it was fellow Central Coast club North Shelley which had everyone's measure. With only seconds left on the clock, their fifth and final surfer, Ryan Bignold, got the wave which counted, securing them the win and a spot in the Nationals.
Come to halfway, we're in front, and then all the nerves start coming in and we really wanted to win, and it's great for our club as well.
No sea breeze at Curry, just the gritty heat of Speedway. Riders spent the day trying to qualify for tonight's New South Wales titles, and that was no easy ride. Among the locals to get through was Cozza Smith, who topped qualifying, while Rowan Tungate also got through to the Open, which will feature national champ Chris Holder.
A family united to celebrate the life of Keith Woodbury. Yesterday afternoon, the former construction worker was watching his son's work at a building site when tragedy struck.
For some reason, the gentleman has walked behind a bobcat, and unfortunately, he's been hit by that bobcat and died on the scene.
Mr. Woodbury was doing what he did every Saturday, watching his sons continuing the family business after suffering a stroke 6 years ago.
We'd go to a work site and I'd tell him what time to be ready. You'd pick him up at 6 on Saturday morning and he'd be ready in the driveway at 5.
Mr Woodbury, survived by his wife of more than 50 years, Kathleen, 4 children, 9 grandchildren and 1 great-grandchild, who all say he died at the place he loved so much.
Dad enjoyed wherever he went, but I really think he treated work as a hobby. That was it. It wasn't work, you know, he just loved it.
Tyson Cottrell, NBN News. Just 24 hours into his new position as Liberal candidate for the seat of Newcastle, and Tim Owen is under no illusion as to what the next few months have in store.
They're going to be challenging, but I think they'll be very exciting. I think the city is certainly due for a level of change.
But the city's political preference has taken a while to change. While Newcastle was traditionally a safe Labor seat, it's become one of the most marginal in the state. Mr Owen says Newcastle's history with Labor has held it back.
It stood still from particularly an infrastructure perspective for such a long, long time. And, you know, and Newcastle is one of the powerhouses of New South Wales. It hasn't got its fair share of funding. Not much has happened here, if anything at all.
But Mr Owen believes his role as Deputy Commander of Australian forces in Iraq and Afghanistan means he's the perfect person to change all that.
I don't see that there's any reason that should continue. Yeah, there are things that can be done in practical terms to really improve what we have in the city.
Tyson Cottrell, NBN News.
It takes a lot of nerve to ride these machines, and sometimes 4 into 1 corner just won't go. Richard Sweetman stayed clear of just about everyone in his heats. He simply gripped it and ripped it, winning 4 of his 5 rounds to easily find a spot in the A-final. There was so much action before that, however, with defending champion Darcy Ward and national number 1 Chris Holder going toe-to-toe in a breathtaking heat. Once Ward got his wheel in front, he wasn't letting go, and even had time to send a message back to his main rival. Going on to claim the heat win, it was clear their rivalry only goes as far as the track. Tension stretched across most of the riders. But with the sun well down, the stars really shone. Sam Masters showed he's on the rise, winning the B final and joining Sweetman in the decider. However, this final was a 2-man show, with Holder keen to avenge his earlier defeat to the World Under-21 champion Darcy Ward. And the World Grand Prix star did just that. Pushed all the way, he made sure Ward got a good look as he crossed first and reclaimed the state crown. With the title in tow, they all now turn their attention to the Australian Series.
Wayne Swan's banking sector changes were big news for all mortgage holders.
I don't mind if people want to stay with the big banks, providing it's an act of choice, not an act of coercion.
Also hanging off every word, 2 Hunter-based building society CEOs, Don McGinn and Terry Millett. They agree the moves, including the ban on exit fees, will put more competitive pressure on the Big Four.
In terms of making it easier for people moving from the banks, I think it's fantastic if it enables them to make the decision that they want to leave and they don't get hit with very large fees.
After the major banks increased interest rates by more than the Reserve's official mark last month, the Newcastle Permanent has seen a 100% increase in home loan applications and a 50% rise in approvals.
We've seen more than a doubling of our normal monthly refinances to over $40 million, and also our total approvals to $150 million.
The Greaters also faring well, and Mr McGinn says Wayne Swan's statement that building societies and credit unions are equally safe as banks will help change public perceptions.
Since the Commonwealth Bank moved to increase their rates by 40 points, the Greater the following day saw an increase of over 200% in our home loan inquiries. Since then we've been tracking around about 50% above our normal average.
By day they're safe, but at night these kangaroos become the target of well-planned callous attacks.
People come on site after hours at night and they've been chasing them with their four-wheel drives and running them down.
And the slaughter doesn't stop there.
Decapitations and limbs taken off as well. Some, while they're still alive, we're actually coming out and finding them alive with parts missing.
They are massacring kangaroos out there, it's cruel in the extreme.
It has happened before, but hospital staff and animal rescuers say the frequency and severity of the attacks have increased.
We've had incidences where we've had up to about 8 actually killed on site in one go.
Hospital security has increased night patrols and is working with local police. Steel gates will soon be built at both entrances of the hospital to keep whoever's responsible for the callous attacks out and to keep the kangaroos safe.
To pool some resources, pool some intelligence on this, but we need to come up with a plan so this doesn't happen again.
We need to find the people that are actually doing it and sort of bring them to justice.
Tyson Cottrell, NBN News.
Not so long ago, these young students wouldn't go outside at night in Newcastle, and they certainly wouldn't walk through the university campus.
After 5 p.m, I never come out.
And it's no surprise Xuan Mei felt that way. International students have been robbed at gun or knife point, some bashed and hospitalised. It's a sad and worrying situation, which has now reached the point where security has been ramped up and students are undertaking self-defence classes. The free program based at the uni helps Australian and international female students, teaching them stronger body language, defence skills and, most importantly, building their confidence.
More powerful. I think I'm strong. Don't want to fight with me.
From walking with purpose to learning to show no fear, course instructor Silva has 18 years of experience to pass on to her eager pupils, and the dedication is paying off, with some students already putting their skills to use.
We already have had instances where they have put it into use and it's worked very well on that non-verbal body language level, and it's actually dissolved a very negative situation.
Jane Goldsmith, NBN News.
Our guest tonight is no stranger to NBN3 viewers. He's our weatherman, Mr. Des Hart. Good evening, Des.
Hello, Ray. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Oh, no. Stupid answering, isn't it? Sorry about that. Can I do that again?
The Cygnus storm of May 1974, which was only about 6 weeks after I arrived in town, was really quite a defining moment. I realised then how serious the news business was and how seriously NBN approached it, and I knew I was in the big time.
For the past 2 or 3 weeks, everyone's been talking of a constitutional crisis, which has brought about a political impasse in Canberra.
Hello there, and welcome to a program we've decided to call Power Politics.
Newcastle, with its wide industrial base, has felt very much the effects of the worldwide recession, which is now upon us.
I think being both a reporter and a newsreader helped me very much because it gave me empathy with the stories, and with particularly the stories that I did.
Hello once again, welcome to the NBN Hour of News. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ray Deneen.
I'm Anna Manzoni.
In our news, those stories, all the news at 6. I wouldn't do anything else for quids.
Morning training was almost over, and then this. Ben Kantarowski came crashing down, clutching his knee, and everyone knew it was serious.
Oh, it could be a number of things, you know. Could be the medial ligaments, could be anything.
The fact no contact from a teammate caused the injury only heightened concerns. Although treated on the spot, the star midfielder was soon rushed to the club specialist and later for scans to determine the extent of the problem.
Let's wait and see what the medical staff come up with, but fingers crossed it's not serious, but it didn't look good.
With Kantarowski's immediate playing future in turmoil, his coach is left searching for a replacement. A job made harder given Jobe Wheelhouse's suspension, while Ruben Zadkovic is another injury concern. The goalkeeping role isn't cut and dried either. The coach refusing to endorse either Ben Kennedy, who's back from injury, or Matthew Nash, who's performed well in BK's absence.
Hopefully I can prove myself at training, and Nash has done pretty well, so it's good though for competition. It keeps me on my toes, and keeps me improving, knowing I have to perform to keep my spot.
The Jets host a Gold Coast United side fresh from another victory at the weekend on Wednesday night. But if Ali Abbas can replicate this sort of stuff, they shouldn't have too many dramas. While Ryan Griffith's first game in January can't come quick enough either.
The crowds gathered long before the sun went down to dance and sing along with headline act Brooke McClymont. The singer-songwriter put her twist on the old favourites in front of a picture-perfect backdrop. Adults got into the spirit of the occasion while children made the most of staying up past bedtime. And with speakers facing the water this year, more people enjoyed the carols from the lake. Meanwhile, Year 4 students at Merryweather's Holy Family School have been given a lesson in the Christmas spirit. They brought an extra present to a class Christmas party recently, and today the group presented 50 gifts to a representative from St Vincent de Paul. To another kind of gift, and Newcastle bus driver Margaret Pennell delivered some Christmas cheer to patients at John Hunter's Children's Hospital today. She packed 300 presents from a toy drive into her very festive bus and invited the excited youngsters on board for a tour. It's the 15th year Mrs Pennell has decorated her bus. Lauren Bladwell, NBN News. For 1 month every year, Colleen Pranius becomes Mrs. Christmas. She's spent many, many hours creating her winter wonderland, a gift to the community.
Our gate is always opened in December and we invite you to go up onto our veranda and have a look.
And this is what you'll find. There's 100 metres of fake snow and countless lights. But what has everyone talking is the incredibly detailed window displays. Mrs. Christmas has been sharing her Warners Bay wonderland since 1996, making her a hit with the local kids.
Many people from the community that I don't know will leave me a small gift for Mrs. Christmas. It might be an angel, it could be a snowman.
The display raises around $4,000 a year for the Westpac Rescue helicopter and no doubt a few dollars for her electricity company too.
I've got my own circuit for Christmas, so we know I can have a cup of tea inside and not blow the whole house.
Lauren Bladwell, NBN News.
Mick Towers was travelling along John Renshaw Drive near Cessnock at around 10 this morning when a drive to work almost turned deadly.
Come along here and bang, got me windscreen taken straight out.
Driving right behind him was his nephew, Shane.
I heard a bang, hit his window and the glass fell out, hit my car.
Both pulled over to the side of the road and called the police, but the incident didn't end there.
We looked around, next minute heard another bang, this blue Ford driver was going along and hit the side of his car.
Exactly what hit the vehicles hasn't been determined, but both Mr. Towers and Mr. Stewart believe it was a slug gun pellet similar to this. Both drivers say they saw two youths run from behind this pipeline into the bushland. Today, police spent most of the morning looking for any sign of a possible weapon. So far, nothing has been found. Mr. Towers and Mr. Stewart, however, are just thankful no one was seriously hurt.
Bloody stupid, poorly, dangerous. You know, could have been anyone out there, kids or anything could have been hurt.
Well, it could have hit us in the head and killed us. Could have killed someone else.
Anyone with any information is being asked to contact Crime Stoppers. Tyson Cottrell, NBN News.
It's yet another attempt to save Lehman Street's natural green cathedral, but this time councillors Nuatali Nelms and Sharon Claydon are cautiously optimistic.
The motion's coming forward tonight to give council an opportunity to just take a breath, step back, to be able to acknowledge the incredibly strong community support. We've received, almost 10,000 signatures.
We will look at retaining the 14 FIGs and different risk mitigation measures. We don't have to have these chainmail fences up.
What's the point of being at complete loggerheads when there are reasonable alternative solutions?
It's almost 2 years since Council first raised concerns about the FIGs. Now, after all the meetings, court action and tens of thousands of dollars, the whole saga could end tonight and the trees may stand for many years to come. With their vigil now in its 83rd night, FIG campaigners hope it could be their last.
I think it's nice to have some recognition that the trees are important to the people of Newcastle. We need to retain our most beautiful streets.
Meanwhile, council staff today explained that proposed pull tests won't be feasible.
The results that we get from the pull tests will not give us a definitive answer on the safety of the trees, and we think there are significant risks with actually carrying out the pull tests.
Jane Goldsmith, NBN News.
Royal Randwick played host to the unveiling of the Hunter Valley Breeders Association's 10-point plan. It says it's designed to help the mining and thoroughbred industries work together.
You probably won't be surprised that our first action point in our 10-point action plan is for the state government of New South Wales to recognise the Hunter Valley's thoroughbred breeding industry as an industry of state significance.
The Hunter is the largest producer and exporter of thoroughbreds in Australia and one of only 3 centres of excellence in the world. But one part of the plan may not be received so well.
Our fourth action plan is to call for a sensible pause, a moratorium on new mining applications and decisions.
The Minerals Council says it doesn't support such a move. CEO Nikki Williams argues that as well as impacting on the 15,000 people directly employed by the region's mining industry, it would also threaten potential projects and cost around $10 million. The Breeders' Plan also includes appointing a dedicated agriculture minister and reforming mine planning, policies and laws.
Our planning systems are old, outdated, cumbersome.
People up there are considering relocation and others are considering just getting out of the game.
Tyson Cottrell, NBN News.
As temperatures heat up, storms and other extreme weather conditions can roll in. One insurer today revealed a new tool to help people claim for storm or bushfire damaged properties.
It's our mobile office which enables us to be on the ground within 24 hours of any major storm or bushfire anywhere around the country.
Suncorp has also based its customer response team at Charlestown, creating 60 jobs. It coincides with data released by fellow insurer AAMI, which identifies the Hunter suburbs with the biggest storm damage bills. Hamilton North tops the list as the Hunter's most storm-affected suburb. Over the past 2 years, claims here have averaged around $64,000. That's 3 times more than the state average. The Hill comes in at number 2, with average claims sitting around $61,000, followed by Hamilton, Holmesville, Broadmeadow, Tighes Hill, Merriweather Heights, New Lambton, Cardiff and Rankin Park coming in at number 10. But regardless of where you live in the Hunter, we're all being told to prepare our homes for the peak of the storm season.
Storms, fires can happen at any time, so make sure you talk to your family about where you'd be, what you'd do and how you deal with it.
Madeline McKell, NBN News.